So, you wanna know what Starfield's character creator looks like? Well, you've come to the right place. And you might be in for a treat, cause Todd Howard said this.
It's our most flexible yet.
I gotta tell you, he wasn't lying, so let's dive right in. As most Bethesda character creators start off, you can choose a preset. In last year's showcase they actually show a couple different options, and you can definitely see a wide range of hair and facial attributes. A small thing to point out before we continue, in the top left you can see that it says Argos Extractors, and in the top right their logo. I'm almost certain this is actually a mining company that we will be working at the start of the game. In the bottom left you can also see our employee number. This is actually supported by a lot of different clips from various Starfield trailers. If you want to know more about the intro of the game, I actually made a separate video on that and I'll link it in the description. What's also interesting to look at is the bar right here, where you actually select your presets. And you can see the little highlight is roughly in the middle of the bar. So we could assume there are around 15, maybe 16 presets. But this is obviously still subject to change, because this trailer came out in June of 2022, so that is roughly 8 months ago. Alright, now moving on to the body. In the body tab you can see you have a couple different options. First of all, the triangle slider from Fallout 4 is making a return. You can choose between muscular, thin or heavy, or you can go somewhere in between those options. Other than that, you can also choose a body type. I'm thinking this might be if you want either a male body or a female body. And what's actually pretty handy, you can toggle your spacesuit on or off, so you can actually look how your body shape will fit into the spacesuit. If we move further down, we can actually see walk styles. This is a widely requested feature by the community, so I'm very happy it's making an appearance in Starfield. Personally, for me, I am an exclusive first-person player, so I won't see much of it, but I'm very happy they included it. And then the last thing on the body tab is the skin tone. And here we can analyze the slider a little bit again. In all these sliders, the thick black stripe is actually the option that is selected at this moment. And by a little bit of eyeballing, I would say that there are around 10 different skin tones in Starfield. Moving on to the face. First we have skin tone again, but that will most likely be the same as the one on body. Then we have head shapes. We don't actually see it get used in the trailer, so there's not much to say about it yet. And then we go to hair. Hair is always one of the most important features of a character creator. So I'm very happy to see that there are a lot of options. Because we can see that the hair here is on option 19 and it's not even halfway on the bar. So that means there are over 40 different hairstyles. Moving on to hair color, we can see that the big black stripe is all the way on the right. That would likely mean that there are 15 different hair colors, and below that we can see eyes. That is all that we can see from the face for now. We can definitely see a large scroll bar on the left, so the face section is probably pretty lengthy, and you will see all your different options that you also had in the previous Bethesda games, like your nose, your mouth, your eyebrows. By this point you have designed the look of your character, but now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. The background. In Starfield you can choose between roughly 20 different backgrounds. As you can see from the list on the right, there are a lot of different options. So what do these backgrounds do? Well, the most important thing is that they give you your 3 starting skills. And these skills mean that you get the first rank of one of the common skills out of one of the 5 perk trees. The first example we can see here is the chef. Chefs are obviously good at cooking, so you get gastronomy. And that means you can craft specialty food and drinks and research additional recipes at a research lab. Also, as a chef, you are pretty skilled with the knife, so melee weapons do 10% more damage. And I mean, nobody's gonna refuse a bit of extra damage in the early game. And your third skill is gonna be wellness, which starts you off with 30 extra health points. I'm not gonna cover them all one by one, but you can see that there are a couple different options, like better healing, more carrying capacity, or better lockpicking. And the background you will be choosing actually has an impact in Starfield, because it could unlock some different dialogue options or get some different reactions out of NPCs. If I'm being honest, I don't think this will actually be that fleshed out, because it's just really tough to actually give meaningful reactions to all of the 20 backgrounds at different points in the game. If we for example look at another game who did this, it's Cyberpunk 2077, but they only had 3 different backgrounds. Yeah, and those were actually pretty fleshed out with a lot of different dialogue options for your backgrounds. Those were only 3 options. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Bethesda did with 20 backgrounds. But yeah, it's at least nice that your background gets recognized in the game. Then we get to the last part of character creation. That will probably have the most impact throughout your playthrough. So in Starfield you can choose between 3 different traits, out of a list of roughly 18. Don't quote me on this, because in a later trailer we have actually seen that a couple of these traits have been changed, so the number also might have changed. But yeah, what are these traits? Well, what all of them have in common is that they are a buff or some type of positive that also comes with a drawback. For example here, the introvert, you have more endurance while adventuring alone, but less when adventuring with other human companions. So you can still take your buddy Vasco. And we can also see that this can't be combined with extrovert. So there will actually be a couple of these traits where if you pick one, you can't pick another. You can see it in introvert, extrovert, or for example, spaced or terra firma. That means you're better on land or you're better in zero gravity basically. And we can also see that with the religions and the faction related traits, because you can start off with multiple religions or ties to multiple factions basically. Some of them can actually have a pretty large impact on your game. For example, the Neon Street Red gives you access to special dialogue options and better rewards from some missions on Neon, but the crime bounty by other factions is greatly increased, so it could maybe get you into a lot of financial trouble with different factions pretty quickly. And some of the others are a bit more goofy, like Hero Worshipped, where you've earned the attention of an annoying, adoring fan who will show up randomly and jabber at you incessantly. On the plus side, he will actually give you gifts. A couple of important things to mention about the traits is that they are purely optional. If you don't want any traits at all, you can just skip them. Or maybe you only pick 1 or 2. So in that aspect you can customize however you like. For example, if you did choose 3 traits, and you actually discover down the line that you don't like one of them, every one of the traits has some type of activity or side quest attached to it where you can actually get rid of it. But it needs to be clear, it will remove the trait entirely. So the positive effect and the negative effect both go away for the whole playthrough. And if we use our imagination a little bit, for the alien DNA we might need to go back to the scientist that actually manipulated our DNA in the first place to reverse it. And for some of the other stuff, like Hero Worshipped, we might need to get rid of the adoring fan, if you know what I mean. After you picked out your traits, you're done, and your Starfield adventure can begin. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you some more insight in the Starfield character creator. And if you did find it helpful, please consider subscribing and let me know in the comments which Starfield topics you want me to cover. And then I'll see you guys at the next video.